What is going on, everybody? Colin here with CH Sports, bringing you guys some commentary from the 2021 Odus Spring Open. This will be the back nine of the first round. Shout out to John Anderson for running this tournament. Our coverage sponsors, as always, are Flight Towel, Upper Park Disc Golf, and Resistance Discs. Here's our scores through the front nine. James Proctor leading the card at 5 down, Chris at 4, Dion Arlyn at 3 down, and Kyle Crabtree at 2 down. Stepping up to hole 10, it is a par 3, 375 feet. There's two plays here. You can kind of go the flip-up hyzer up the middle, or you can go the big wide hyzer out and around everything. There is OB off to the left side, marked by those white posts that you can see there. There's a ravine just short of it that is actually inbounds. Anything over that ravine is what is going to be considered out of bounds. Chris Holden leading off the card here. He's going for the wider hyzer play. This is going to rely on a skip and off the golf fairway. He'll be testing the OB, but no OB graphic, so he did stay in bounds. Here's James Proctor now. Also going for the wide hyzer play. As long as he gets that skip, and he does, all the way down to the basket. That looks like a great shot there. Here's Crabtree. He's going for more of the inside play. Not going to rely as much on a skip. Still gets a little bit of it. Gets right up there to the basket. I would assume scoring average says that this is one of the easier holes on the course. Dion going for the wide hyzer. Yep, 4 shots, 4 putts. Chris Holden the farthest out at about 18 feet. He's down in that ravine that I mentioned previously and able to knock down his birdie putt. That is a good birdie to get. Crabtree the second farthest out at about 15 feet. Yep, Crabtree able to put that one in there, grab his two as well. And I'm liking our chances at a star frame with James at about 12 feet. Able to knock that one in there. Especially for the big arms, this hole is pretty routine. You can take it as wide as you want. As long as you can cover 375 feet of distance, you can really throw as wide of a hyzer as you want. Everybody able to pick up the 2 there. Everybody moves down a stroke. That puts James at 6 down, Chris at 5 down, Dion at 4, and Crabtree at 3. We step up to hole 11. This one is probably one of the harder birdies on the course. The 2 plays here are a mash of a forehand to get all the way out and around this right side, or you can go the big roller out and around as well. The golf green off to the left is OB. There's also an OB marked line just right of the basket. Probably have about 25, 30 feet right of the basket. Pretty tough 2 here. Chris looks to be lining up the roller here. It starts out on a good angle, but it's turning out just a little bit early. Don't think it made it quite down the hill. James also going for the roller here. This one's actually a tough one to film because you can't quite see the basket around the corner, which gives you an idea of how far right the basket is. Crabtree also going to the roller. That one looks like the best of the bunch so far. Let's see what Dion can do. Also going to the roller. Lands on a great angle. And that one looks like the best of the bunch by far. Yep, Chris didn't quite make it down the hill, so he's going to have a long jump putt up. Looks like he's just laying up for a par there. Crabtree didn't quite make it to the corner. And he will put it under the basket as well. James has a wide open look at it at least. Probably about 45, 50 feet here. And no good on that one. And Dion looking at a similar distance here, probably about 45 feet. Putting with his Page Pierce Fierce, he'll be off on that one. So as long as James can make this, it looks like we'll have a star par here right after the star frame. James able to put his in there. Everybody else should have routine tap-ins for par. Kyle Crabtree borrowing a putter there from Chris. Good veteran move. Don't get your own disc sweat. Get somebody else's disc wet. And everybody else, or sorry, everybody on the card here is going to take a par. Scores stay exactly the same as we move into hole 12. This is the technical stretch of the course. Hole 12 and 13 are both kind of the lone woods holes on the course. As you can see here, it's a pretty tight gap. Even the drone has difficulty making it through the actual gap here. A couple of plays. Really, it's just pick a gap and throw it 270 feet. But there's a slight flip-up backhand. There's a slight flip-up forehand. And then there's also a wide hyzer on the right side. Chris going to go for the flip-up and hits the one big tree in the way. You want to be just right of that tree and flipping up on hyzer. There you can see the basket. Let's see what James goes for here. Looks like he has a rock in his hand. That looks to be executed much better and hits one of the late ones in the gap.
I thought it was past all.
Crabtree going to a Buzz SS here. Also going for the flip-up hyzer. This looks to be a touch right, but it should be up there on the green. And now Dion going for the flex forehand play. Got through the gap clean and then hits one of the late ones. He'll have probably about 45, 50 feet for his birdie. Chris working hard to try and save a par here. Hits the last tree, but he will be in Chris Holden range. If you guys didn't see the front nine, Chris jammed quite a few long putts just in that front nine, so go back and check that out. Here's Dion from about 40 feet. No good on that one. Gave it a good bid. And James, after hitting a tree, gets all the way up there to about 30 feet. And he's just off on the greens today. And now Chris just inside of what James had. Let's see if he can keep the putter warm here. Yep, no good on that one. He will be tapping out for a bogey. And here's where Crabtree's Buzz SS ended up. He's got about 25 feet for his birdie. It looks obstructed from the camera view, but from his view, it's pretty wide open, and he's able to knock down the lone birdie on the card. He will get a stroke on the card. 2 on Chris. And there you can see he's happy about hitting that one. Dion able to tap in his par. James will come along, also do the same. And finally, we'll have Chris Holden tap out for a bogey. Moving into hole 13. We had 1 birdie and 1 bogey there. The scores changed up just a bit. We still got James leading the card at 6 down and everybody else sitting at 4 down for the round so far. Stepping up to hole 13, the other technical hole on the course. Really the only play is this flip up the middle. I did hear about some of the locals talking about this flex forehand out and around the left side. I unfortunately didn't get to see it work. So until I see that happen, I'm going to keep saying the play is this flip up backhand down the gap. It's really just throw a straight shot 270. Some people will throw mid, some people will throw putters. Let's see what Crabtree can do here. Known as a woods technician and hits one of the late ones in the gap. Looked like he had the angle perfect. Just barely missed the line there. James Proctor going to a rock and absolutely squares the gap. You're not going to quite be able to see it finish. It did go a little long there. He'll have a pretty sizable comeback coming back. And Dion also squares the gap perfectly. Had the speed gauged pretty well, pretty good as well. Should have a pretty unobstructed putt there. And now here's Chris. Had the line perfect, but just barely missed the angle. You can see him shrug there. It actually got through some of that late cabbage and got all the way up to the green. Here's Crabtree's bid for 2. Here's where Chris got to, getting squeaky through that right side. About 25, 30 feet. Not able to convert there. And Dion has a pretty open 25-footer here. Oh, man. Just barely weak side. And here's James. He's got about 25 feet coming back. That path itself is actually in bounds. And he liked it out of his hand. Must have been just outside the circle there. Dion will tap in for his par. There's James tapping in for par. And it looks like everybody's just going to tap in for par here. Kyle has the most work left to be done. But I'm sure he's got this one. There you go. Kyle's able to tap in his par. And now Chris, using the veterans play on him, uses Kyle's disc to tap in this time. And scores stay the same. James still leading it at 6 down. Everybody else at 4 down. And we will kick it off to a short sponsor break. Welcome back, everybody. Shout out to our sponsors there. Go check out the links down below to figure out how to support them as well as supporting the channel. We're on hole 14. It's 380 downhill. OB left, OB right. The cart path right is what marks the OB on the right side. This fence on the left side, if you end up getting past that fence on the left side, you are OB as well. As the crow flies, it's 380, but a lot of guys are going to throw mid-ranges here. Probably plays closer to 330 or so. And this is not what you want to see. It's a little too turned over. No OB graphic, though. Stays in bounds. Let's see if James can correct off of that miss. And he had the line perfect, just didn't quite get it. Not quite getting it in the air enough to get all the way down to the basket. Dion going with his drone here. Hitting some cabbage. Hopefully this stays in bounds. Not going to get through the fence there, so it does stay in bounds. Nobody quite executing the shot like it's supposed to be done yet. Let's see what Chris can do. And this looks like the best of the bunch so far. Coming back to the basket. Yeah, should have a pretty open putt from there. And everybody else going to have this same kind of 150 awkward downhill approach. James executes it to perfection. Now we got Dion throwing his upshot from a similar distance. Able to put it just under the basket. And Crabtree got down there to pin high. He's actually going to have a putt. Not quite able to convert there. And Chris, by far the best look of the bunch. Let's see if he can convert. Yeah, able to put that one in there. And he will grab a stroke on the card. Everybody else tapping in for par. And Chris going to grab the lone 2. This is definitely one in the MPO division that you're going to want to get. Nothing really in the way. The only thing to contend with is the downhill slope. Par's not going to kill you here, but you definitely want to grab a birdie. And Dion able to snag his par there. I believe the other two guys just have tap-ins as well. And James munching on something there. James taps in a par. And Crabtree will come along and do the same. And there you go. We got one birdie on the card. Everybody else staying where they were at. James still leading the card at 6 down. Chris getting one stroke closer at 5. Dion and Kyle still at 4 down. And now we step up to hole 15. It's a par 3, 425 feet. Plays about that. It starts off initially going downhill, but the last half of the hole goes back up the hill. There's an OB golf green long right. There's also that bunker that you can see on the right side that is a hazard. And the left side is marked by OB by that fence, the same one that was running down the fairway on hole 14. The green has some interesting undulations to it. Let's see how the guys can navigate it. Chris going for the wide hyzer here. As long as this stays off the golf green, it should be all right. Yeah, that'll leave him probably about 35 feet. Pretty open putt. This is another one that there's a few different plays. You can really access this green however you want to. You just got to go 425 feet and navigate everything that is OB on the hole. Crabtree going to stay short of that golf green. Stays in bounds. Not going to have the best look at 2, but he will have probably about 75 feet to take a look at it. And now James. And there you can see it hyzer back into the fairway. It'll be similar distance to what Crabtree has. And now Dion Arlyn. Looking good so far. As long as it doesn't finish too hard left. Yeah, he'll have a similar putt to what Chris does, just on the other side of the basket. Here's what Crabtree has left for his 2. Gives it a floaty bid, hits the tree, stays right there for a par. And we actually missed James's upshot, but you can see his putter sitting underneath the basket there. And here's Chris. Still has the putter going from that front 9. Able to cash in another one. And that will actually tie him with James for the lead on the card. Let's see if Dion can get a stroke back here. Yeah. Able to grab the 2. And we'll just have Crabtree and James tapping in for a 3. And there you have it. Dion gets a stroke closer to James and Chris. Chris able to tie James now, so we got 2 guys at 6 down on the card. Dion at 5 down, and Kyle Crabtree 1 stroke back of Dion at 4. Stepping up to hole 16, it's 390 feet, par 3, slightly uphill. The OB right is marked by this cart path. On it and over is OB, and OB left is not really in play, but there is a fence on the left side. The plays here are what you'll see Chris go to here. Nice turnover shot. Yeah, that's pretty much how you want to execute it there. Or if you do have the 390-foot sidearm, as you'll see displayed by Dion Arlyn here, that is definitely another play. And he does yank this forehand just a bit. Gets up there to about pin high. Maybe about 65, 70 feet left. Let's see if he wants to run that putt. Crabtree going to go something similar to what Chris did. That slow turning backhand that stretches out to about 400 feet. The line and the angle looks good. Yeah, no OB graphic, so it will be inbounds. He'll have a putt. And James also going to the turnover here. A little short, but he will have a look at it. And like I said, Dion has about 65 feet. He's going to give it a bid. Just a little short. James has about 45 feet left. Putting with Tour Series AVRs. And no good on that one. And here's where Crabtree ended up, able to just stay in bounds there. No good on the putt. And Chris with his first mistake on the greens all day. Not able to convert the short birdie putt. Had the best look of the bunch. Would have grabbed the lead on the card there. Not able to convert. Dion taps in a par, and it's looking like it's going to be 4 pars here for the folks. Scores stay where they're at. Chris and James at 6 down. Dion at 5. Kyle Crabtree still sitting at 4 down. Everybody's still right in the mix here. Hole 17. Uphill, up onto this mound. Probably one of the signature holes here at Delphi, known as the Stump Hole. That basket's pretty high up there. This is definitely more elevated than you'll see most elevated baskets. And that's really what makes the hole difficult. 2 plays here are the wide hyzer, and then you'll have a flip-up hyzer on the left side. I would say the left side's the easier way to park it. As you'll see Chris go to here, he's flipping it up. And he'll get up there to a putt. The wide hyzer, you still have those late trees to contend with, and then you'll also see what Dion goes to here and just doesn't quite execute it. He was going for that late turn forehand and hits really the only tree in the way, and you'll have a pretty tough par save. James going for the wide hyzer. This relies on the skip as well as missing those late trees. And James's does neither. Doesn't really get the skip, and he ended up hitting one of the trees there. And Kyle going to the inside play like Chris did. And Kyle's is the best of the bunch. He's up there to about 15 feet. Of course, the basket is way up above his head. There's really no safe putt on this green. And Dion going to leave himself a tester for par. Probably about 30 feet, putting 10 feet straight uphill. James does the smart thing and just lays it underneath the basket. Holden not afraid. He's going to run it, and he jams it right in the center, able to recover after that putt on 16. That'll get him to 7 down with 1 hole remaining. Dion taking a look at this. He's got this about 25-footer for par, straight uphill. And it's just off the cage and out. Luckily, it didn't roll too far. He'll have a tap-in bogey putt. James able to tap in his par, and we still haven't seen Kyle putt. That tells me he's pretty close for his bird. And you can see even a guy that's 6'4" like James Proctor is having trouble getting it out the basket there. This one's pretty elevated. Crabtree standing at about 5'10", looking straight up at this thing. Yeah, able to put it in there. He'll grab his birdie. Look at the process that it takes to get the disc out of the basket here. Crabtree fully stretched out. Grabs the disc out of the basket. And Dion will have this short work left for bogey. And even these ones are scary. Could come right back at you, but he's able to make it work. And we'll have a good mix of scores here. Chris and Kyle able to grab the 2 there. James Proctor has a par, and Dion Arlyn with the unfortunate bogey. Good mix of scores now. Stepping up to the last hole. A couple of plays on this one. Really no OB to speak of. I guess there is OB off to the right side and long. Probably about 75 feet. But, yeah, the 2 plays here are kind of a slow turning backhand or a 315 sidearm. Take your pick, something that's moving left to right the whole time. And Chris going to go to the backhand. Let's see if he gets this to turn long enough. Not quite high enough in the air. Will still have a putt. There you can see just a little bit of the basket through the bushes. You do have to get something to be turning right pretty much the entire flight. Crabtree has a good angle on this one. And throws something stable enough to stay in the air while it's turning and gets up there to about 15-20 feet. Great shot there from Crabtree. James going to go to the forehand. As long as these miss, these late trees, perfect. Ooh, almost skipped it in there for an ace. Should have a pretty close birdie putt. And Dion also going to the forehand. Didn't quite get it wide enough, but he will still have a putt. Chris Holden from about 35 feet to finish off his round. And this will get him on the lead card if he's able to convert. No good. So we will not see Chris tomorrow on lead card. And Dion is off. Kyle Crabtree, about 15 feet. Should be pretty routine for Kyle. Able to tap that one in. Kyle, pretty up and down round, but he's able to salvage a pretty decent score. James also able to tap in a birdie. And the other 2 guys will tap in for par. Here's Dion, and Chris will come along and tap in his par. Someday. Yep, Dion's yelling at Chris in the background to come tap out. And we got it. There we go. Chris taps in his par. That'll conclude his round. Chris and James Proctor finished their rounds at 7 down. Kyle Crabtree 1 stroke back at their pace at 6 down. And Dion Arlyn at 4. And there you see it. We got 3 guys tied at 9 down. Kirby Schneider sitting at 8 down. And James Proctor at 7 down. He'll actually get on the lead card for this next round. And we'll see you guys in round 2. Hey guys, Colin here with CH Sports. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to my coverage sponsors. These videos would not be able to come to life without these people's help, so I really appreciate it. There's plans starting as low as $3 a month, and every single dollar helps grow the channel. If you would like to see your name or business listed in the credits of every single one of my videos, please head over to patreon.com/chsports.